Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of My Drive. We are here in Spielberg, Austria for what should be quite an entertaining weekend. This track is known for great racing as well as hopefully great sprint races and feature races. As it stands, ladies and gentlemen, we are kind of out of races in terms of what I've pre-recorded. My current PC is currently in the workshop getting fixed as it decided to melt itself. So for the time being, this will probably be the last upload until I get that back and I'll get on it pronto. As far as practice sessions go, it was fine. Fuel saving currently helped quite a bit, having Zach O'Sullivan just ahead of us as the acclimatization went off without a hitch. Had a few half spins, but it wasn't too crazy. And then, as you can see, for the race strategy, currently top of the timings once again, so that's obviously good. We've got a good bit of pace here, and I'm hoping to really be able to extract that through qualifying and hopefully through both races. We need to get again back on the horse really, because Antonelli managing to close the gap, not as big as we was hoping in Monaco, but we're going to come across the line for our first lap time, and it is going to put us in P1, only just about. But you can see we had purple first and last sector, but the lap we're going to be focusing on is going to be the second lap. So we get a good run out of turn one. We're already almost half a tenth up. I'm only halfway down the straight. So coming into the first real heavy braking zone of the circuit, there's a lot of time to be gained here, especially on the exit. We had a bit of a wobble on our first lap, and you can see the way the delta is just going to climb all the way up, almost 4 tenths as we get to the DRS zone. So that was definitely one of the corners on the circuit that definitely needed a bit more of a go, a bit more throttle, and a bit more oomph on exit. And then we do momentarily lose it mid-corner on the delta. We managed to pick it back up on the exit, and before we even get into the second sector, we're already half a second up. So that shows you comparatively how mid the first run we did actually was. We're almost 6 tenths up. We lose a bit of speed on exit. We scrub a bit too much off, so we do lose just over a tenth and almost tenth and a half. But coming into the final two corners, we're going to fully commit all the way, and you can see we had to steer out of the corner. So unfortunately, we do lose about a quarter of a second, but we do manage to go and grab pole position. So there's a pretty big gap. So we're definitely hooked up around here for sure. And much to our dismay, Antonelli and Behrman currently sat in P3 and P4. So in terms of the championship picture, it's not ideal, but at the same time, it's definitely something that we can kind of work with, and hopefully they could lose a few positions, especially in the feature race as well. The sprint race, not necessarily too much of an issue because there's not as many points on offer, but if we can beat them in both races, then that's what's going to help us and propel us a little bit higher up the championship. We've got Kushmani down in P22 in a car that was very competitive in the season it was in. 22 is a bit embarrassing. We do manage to get purple on our parking, which is something we've also struggled with aside from our consistency in races, let's call it. But hopefully this means we're on to brighter pastures. We are ready for the 5 lights to come on. We've got the 2 Premiers ahead of us as well as Hajar. Our title rivals are all close together. The lights have gone out, and Hajar, tell you what, that was an unreal start from Isaac Hajar. Victor Martins momentarily gets past us on the left-hand side, but that was some start. Hajar just flew. There's a bit of front wing which seems to get lodged on Martins' car. I think that was from Behrman, perhaps. Maybe when they went 3 wide, perhaps he maybe lost a little bit of front wing, which is good news for us. We're in the tow of Victor Martins. We're going to have to send up his insider, try and get some progress done. He steers out really last minute. That was really outrageous for us. He hits us on the side as well, so we've got a lot of damage to our floor and our barge boards. But that was so crazy from Martins. He just turned right in the braking zone, almost collected us, almost went into the back of him. And then, yeah, when it got to the hairpin, we ended up losing it. And we've gone straight on almost. We managed to keep it on the circuit. We have a bit of contact with Villa Gomez. Obviously, the bodywork damage we've got kind of caught us out there coming into the braking zone. Really completely unaware. But we're going to have a look here. So in the braking zone, he jinks to the right there. And then he's just going to just turn in on us and just ruin our floor. So, and our side pod's absolutely mangled, as you can see, and there's no surprise that we struggled to get the car slowed down. Obviously, we wasn't really prepared for that, but it's not the first time Martins has had an issue, so something tells me it won't be the last. We're looking on board from the rear view of Isaac Hajar, and you can see we just kind of make a little bit of contact with Rafael Villa Gomez, completely unintentional. Obviously, we barely come back on the circuit. He obviously just extends the corner extremely wide. And there's a little bit of contact. So Vida Gomez, it looks to be in the pit lane, same as Ollie Behrman, to replace their front wings, which makes perfect sense. We've got Paul Aron going up Taylor Bardon momentarily. So Paul Aron trying to make some moves. He's not really having the season he probably would have wanted, but hopefully our teammate can get up a few more places in P14. We're now in the toe of Victor Martins. We've got DRS wide open. He's going to go defensive. We're going to go to the outside line. We're missing a big chunk of our nose as well. This time we're going to go clean round his outside. Luckily there's no contact. Quite often when we go battling with Victor Martins, it does seem to be a bit of contact, but just as quick as that, we're already onto the back of Isaac Hajar. So the pace we had in qualifying is definitely showing here in the sprint race. You're going to go side by side into turn 1. We're going to have to be careful here because we can't really sustain any more damage. And he's going to have the slipstream of Dirksen. But Dirksen moves over to the right-hand side to give us the slipstream. So we do manage to get ahead of Hajar. So that's really nice from Dirksen. So much so, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to dispatch him almost immediately. He left the door open for us. He didn't even try to defend that. And it was quite a long way back we came from. But he did actually manage to jump out of the way for us. So thank you very much for that, Dirksen. We've been given to keep the tyre wear under 27%, 2 laps. And, you know, depending on the damage. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to do with a big old lockup. That's a meaty lockup. We're spinning and we've hit Hajar. I said we couldn't sustain any more damage, and unfortunately we've not really helped ourselves out there. We couldn't collect the car, and unfortunately Hajar, almost a bit of a bystander in that. So you can see we're trying to make it round. By this point we just instantly go round, and we're quite lucky to only lose a front wing, and I think the same for Isaac Hajar as well. I think he's quite fortunate to only have sustained damage there. And you tell you what, I think it's only minimal damage as well. But unfortunately with the front wing, we'd have to pit and put on some new tyres, and I don't think it's worth the risk. So we do retire the car. But the worst possible scenario has then happened. Antonelli has then won the sprint race, which is, considering we're scoring no points, about as worse as it gets, really. Unfortunately, there's nothing we could do. There's no point putting on some tyres to trundle around to finish last anyway, right? So, yeah, those 11 points for Anthony really do hurt us. But hopefully, in the feature race, we can get some points on both of them. Looking at the starting grid, we are P1 with Isaac Hajar, the man we just collided with in the sprint race. Hopefully we're going to keep it clean and there's no issues. Both of the Pramers on the row behind us, Dirksen and Richard Verschoor. Very good qualifying from Verschoor, that I must say. Dennis Hauger and Fittipaldi, row 9 and 10. Victor Martins, our bitter rival in P11. 15th and 16th, you got our teammate Aaron and Gabriel Bortoletto. Jose Maria Marti's really kind of fallen away here. He's currently in P18. And at the very back, we have, once again, Coach Miney having a torrid season in a car that really should be doing a lot better. But being on the front row for this race is really helpful. It's quite a short run into turn 1. It's the run up the hill, which is going to be quite concerning. So, provided we get off to a good start, we should be able to kind of defend into turn 1 and then hopefully break away. In an ideal world, P3 would get a good run on P2 and they'd be going side by side. But we don't get perfect parking, but we get adequate parking, which is more or less good enough for us, given how some of the bad starts we've had this season. But we are ready for the 5 lights to come on here in Spielberg, Austria, for the feature race. We've got the 5 lights, and we are away. Isaac Hajar gets off to an okay start. We get a tremendous start. Dirksen's gone past Antonelli, which is very much welcome here. And looks like Behrman's going to try to go past Hajar. So Hajar has in fact struggled. What I just said come to fruition. That P3 gets past P2, which gives us a mighty old gap up into turn 1. So we're not under too much pressure. So Behrman is going to get challenged by Hajar once again. Anthony has made it back past Dirksen. We've gone really deep there at the hairpin, and Behrman's going to pull along side by side with us. We make a very silly error almost immediately. I'm not necessarily familiar with how the car is on this this heavier fuel load, but at the same time, Behrman is going to send it down our inside, and he's going to make the position. So Behrman has gone from P3 to P1 in the space of effectively 3 corners. So coming up into the hairpin, you can see we just go extremely deep. We managed to keep it on track, no issue there. But that obviously gives Behrman a prime opportunity to get in and under us. So we're definitely going to have to make a move here. And you can see we've got Paul Aron's against Victor Martins. Martins dropped down 2 positions from the start. So he started P11, he's down P13. Aaron once again P14. So not having the best time, our teammate once again. We're not really helping us in the constructors when I'm battling up here with the 2 Pramers. But we get a good run out the final corner on Ollie Behrman. We're going to pull to the right hand side with DRS wide open. We're going to cross the start finish line and we're going to see if we can pull away. Behrman didn't really seem interested in defending that, and probably for good reason. His plan is to come back up us through on the way up to the hill, and it's not bad racecraft from Ollie Behrman at all, to be fair, especially he's going to pull to the inside line. We're going to try and hold around the outside, and we don't actually have the bottle to brake late enough, and he goes clean through us. We have a bit of wheel spin on the exit. We do seem to have DRS coming down the back straight, but at the same time, with that little bit of wheel spin on exit, we're not going to be close enough to have a look at Behrman. But cutting on to lap 6, we've been sat here for so long. We surprise him with a dive bomb and we get up into P1. It took so long to kind of get that move to work. It was basically carbon copy of what happened on lap 3. But we managed to get the job done with no wheel spin on exit. So we're going to bring it into the pit lane as we are ready for our first and only stop, touchwood, of the race. We've got Tsutomu Miyata out of the session. I believe that may be with an engine failure. Unsure. But not a great race for him. We're ready to go. We've been held. We've got 4.1 second stop. Great stop from the lads. We get held by Martins. And all that hard work we did to get past Behrman has been completely undone because Behrman is now ahead of us. So we're going to have to do that all over again. And we're going to have to try and navigate Behrman as we're already on to lap 9. So Behrman's doing a really good job just kind of keeping us out of his DRS and long enough to almost put us off when it comes to actually getting past them. So this time we're going to learn from our mistakes. We're going to try and hold it around his outside, and then we're going to dance around it, and we're going to get on power a lot earlier than Behrman is. We're going to get the DRS as well, and that should bring Isaac Hadjar into play with Antonelli in tow. So the entire top 5 all in this little DRS train, and this could get quite spicy with any luck. Ollie Behrman could hopefully drop down. We've gapped him a little bit as he's now been fighting with Isaac Hadjar, and Antonelli's not really in the fight for P3, but hopefully Dirksen can give him a go. So we're pulling a gap out. We've kind of look after our tyres, maintain, but we put our tyre into the gravel and we've spun at one of the most high-speed corners of this circuit in Sector 2. We're going to manage to navigate our way back onto the circuit sideways. We managed to get out just ahead of Vishor, but, you know, through one of the fastest complexes of this sector, and we just absolutely bin it. We managed to keep it out of the wall, which is a testament to ourselves, don't get me wrong. We come back on very sideways. You'll see from Vishor's perspective how sideways we are as we bring it back on. We managed to navigate everybody, and Vishor does have to slam on the brakes. That was a little bit naughty from ourselves, but so we've got a few laps. We've got to hunt down these guys, and we're going to go for a full send on Dirksen, who literally jumps out of the way. He does get a better exit than us, so we're going to squeeze him all the way to the left-hand side, which is going to absolutely ruin his entry point for the following corner on the left-hand turn. But we're going to go the long way around of Dirksen. We've kind of shown our intent a little bit. Absolutely full send. Our head is absolutely on Mars. We had a relatively comfortable lead. Everybody's still within DRS of each other, but it's more or less the principle of little errors, little silly mistakes that just get in the way, and things like this shouldn't happen. But nonetheless, we're now on the back of Hadjar immediately. He has been cooked up behind Ollie Behrman and now Antonelli for the longest time, so his tyres are absolutely shot. We've been out in front more or less. We've been looking after our tyres for exactly this reason, and we absolutely pounded them. The fact we went sideways on the exit of turn 1 like that, we're not going to gain an awful amount of time. But at the same token, we're absolutely pushing for everything that we're worth. We've got Antonelli just ahead of us. There's a gap to Behrman's about 1.3. So if we need to make this work, we need to use the slingshot with DRS to get on the back of Behrman if we want to have any hope of regaining that P1 spot. Antonelli's in the same spot as Dirk, so we're going to send that up the inside. Antonelli also steers out the way. He's probably thinking about the championship at this stage, where it's going to be quite tight. I mean, as it stands, we're only gaining 3 points this race, and obviously with 11 from the day before, he's gaining on us massively. So it makes perfect sense for him to not fight it too hard. But we've gone to the penultimate lap. We're going to be coming across the start-finish line to start the final lap. And we are on the back of Behrman. You can see we've closed our DRS down the start-finish straight. We don't want to pass him until the absolute latest opportunity. We're going to send him to the inside. It's going to give us a good run up the hill, right in his slipstream. And we've got a DRS open for the moment, but we're going to close it because we don't want to pass him until after the DRS detection. However, Antonelli's looking a little bit feisty, so we're going to have to go on the attack. We're going to have to go around the outside. Behrman has a bit of a moment on the braking. We're going to send it round his outside. Antonelli looks interested. A bit of a wobble on exit from Behrman. We get into the lead on the final lap of the race, and unfortunately, it's not looking good for Ollie Behrman. Antonelli's going to pull to the outside. Antonelli might get through on his teammate Ollie Behrman and get up into P2. We have a bit of a lock-up. They're going to go side by side. There's almost contact as they go through this corner, and Antonelli, of all people, is up into P2. He took full use of what happened with me and Behrman, and Antonelli, the person we're fighting in the championship with, has managed to snatch P2 at the death. That was such a frenetic end to the race, and of all people, we didn't want it to be Antonelli. We really didn't need it to be him, but super frustrating. But we do manage to get the win, back-to-back wins in the F2 season, which is good. We need to build on this momentum. The only overhanging issue we have is the fact that, as you can see over this weekend, Antonelli actually extended the gap by 1 point over us. So that's super frustrating. Even with pole position, fastest lap, he still managed to get an extra point. So it's now up to 22 points is the gap. Only by 1 point. And the Constructors is still looking a bit ropes. But what a crazy race. If you enjoyed the video, guys, make sure to slap a like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments which one was your favourite race. And I'll see you in the next video for the next race. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.